Senator Van Leuven's husband had died of a heart attack. I'll offer my condolences. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 15 minutes later, Senator Van Leuven and her two attractive young assistants arrived. Tanner rose to greet them. I'm delighted you decided to come. Senator Van Leuven nodded. You remember Corinne Murphy and Carolee Trost? Tanner smiled. Yes. It's nice to see you both again. He turned to the senator. I heard about your husband's passing away. I'm terribly sorry. Senator Van Leuven nodded. Thank you. He had been ill for a long time, and finally, a few weeks ago. She forced a smile. By the way, the information on global warming that you've been sending me is very impressive. Thank you. Would you like to show us what you're doing here? Of course. How much of a tour would you like? We have a 5-hour tour, a 4-hour tour, and an hour-and-a-half tour. Corinne Murphy grinned. It would be nice to take the 5. Senator Van Leuven interrupted. We'll settle for the hour-and-a-half tour. My pleasure. How many people work at KIG? Senator Van Leuven asked. Approximately 2,000. KIG has offices in a dozen major countries all over the world. Corinne Murphy and Carolee Trost looked impressed. We have 500 employees in these buildings. The staff members and the research fellows have separate quarters. Every scientist employed here has a minimum IQ of 160. Corinne Murphy gushed, they're geniuses. Senator Van Leuven gave her a disapproving look. Follow me, please, Tanner said. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The senator and Murphy and Trost followed Tanner through a side door into one of the adjoining buildings. He led them into a room crammed with esoteric-looking equipment. Senator Van Leuven walked up to one of the odd-looking machines and asked, "What does this do?" "That's a sound spectrograph, Senator. It converts the sound of a voice into a voice print. It can recognize thousands of different voices." Trost frowned. "How does it do that?" "Think of it this way. When a friend calls you on the telephone, you instantly recognize the voice because that sound pattern is etched in your brain circuit. We program this machine the same way. An electronic filter allows only a certain band of frequencies to get through to the recorder, so that we have only the distinguishable features of that person's voice." The rest of the tour became a fascinating montage of giant machines and miniature electronic microscopes and chemical laboratories, rooms with blackboards filled with mysterious symbols, labs with a dozen scientists working together, and offices where a single scientist was absorbed in trying to solve some arcane problem. They passed a red brick building with a double set of locks on the door. Senator Van Leuven asked, "What's in there?" "Some secret government research." "Sorry, it's out of bounds, Senator." The tour took 2 hours. When it was over, Tanner escorted the 3 women back to his office. "I hope you enjoyed it," Tanner said. Senator Van Leuven nodded. "It was interesting. Very interesting." Corinne Murphy smiled. Her eyes were on Tanner. "I loved it," exclaimed Carolee Trost. Tanner turned to Senator Van Leuven. "By the way, have you had a chance to discuss with your colleagues the environmental problem we talked about?" The senator's voice was non-committal. "Yes. Would you tell me what you think the chances are, Senator? This is not a guessing game, Mr. Kingsley. There will be more discussions. I'll let you know when it's been decided. Tanner managed a smile. Thank you. Thank you all for dropping by. He watched them leave. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. As the door closed behind them, Kathy Ordonez's voice came over the intercom. Mr. Kingsley, Seda Hernandez has been trying to reach you. She said it was urgent, but you told me to hold your calls. Get her for me, Tanner said. Seda Hernandez was the woman he had sent to the Adams Hotel to plant the bomb. Line 1. Tanner picked up the phone, anticipating the good news. All went well, Seda. No. I'm sorry, Mr. Kingsley. He could hear the fear in her voice. They got away. Tanner's body went stiff. They would. Yes, sir. They left before the bomb went off. A bellman saw them rush out of the hotel lobby. Tanner slammed the phone down. He buzzed his secretary. Send Flint and Carballo in here. A minute later, Harry Flint and Vince Carballo walked into Tanner's office. Tanner turned to the two men. He was in a towering rage. The bitches got away again. That's the last time I will allow that to happen. Do you understand? I'm going to tell you where they are, and you're going to take care of them. Any questions? Flint and Carballo looked at each other. No, sir. Tanner pressed a button that revealed the electronic city map. As long as they have the cards that I gave them, we can track them down. They watched the electronic lights appear on the television screen map. Tanner pressed a button. The lights did not move. Tanner gritted his teeth. They've gotten rid of their cards. His face got redder. He turned to Flint and Carballo. I want them killed today. Flint looked at Tanner, puzzled. If we don't know where they are, how can we? Tanner cut in. Do you think I'd let a woman outwit me that easily? As long as they have their cell phones, they're not going anywhere without telling us. You could get hold of their cell phone numbers. Flint asked, surprised. Tanner did not bother to reply. He was examining the map. By now they've probably separated. He pressed another switch. Let's try Diane Stevens first. Tanner punched in a number. The lights on the map started to move and began to slowly focus on Manhattan streets, panning across hotels, shops, and banks. Finally, the moving lights stopped at a building with a sign that read Nelson Gallery. Diane Stevens is in a gallery. Tanner pressed another button. Let's see where Kelly Harris is. Tanner began to repeat the same procedure. The lights started moving again, this time focusing on a different part of the city. The men watched as the lighted area narrowed down to a street with a clothing store, a restaurant, a drugstore, and a bus station. The lights scanned the area and suddenly stopped in front of a large, open building. Kelly Harris is at a bus station. Tanner's voice was grim. We've got to catch them both, fast. How? Carballo asked. They're at opposite ends of town. By the time we got there, they'd be gone. Tanner turned. Come with me. He headed for an adjoining room. Flint and Carballo closed behind him. The room they entered had an array of monitors, computers, and electronic keyboards with color-coded keys. On a shelf was a small squat machine, with dozens of compact discs and DVDs. Tanner looked through them and slipped one labeled Diane Stevens inside the machine. He explained to the men, "This is a voice synthesizer." The voices of Diane Stevens and Kelly Harris were digitized earlier. The patterns of their speech have been recorded and analyzed. With the press of a button, every word I say is calibrated to duplicate their voices. Tanner picked up a cell phone and pressed some numbers. There was a cautious hello. It was Kelly Harris's voice. "Kelly. I'm so glad I found you." It was Tanner speaking, but it was Diane Stevens's voice that they heard. "Diane. You caught me just in time. I'm on my way out of here." Flint and Carballo were listening in wonder. "Where are you going, Kelly?" "To Chicago. I'm taking a plane home, out of O'Hare." "Kelly, you can't leave now." There was a moment of silence. "Why?" "Because I found out what's really happening. I know who killed our husbands and why." "Oh, my God. How did, are you sure?" "Positive. I have all the proof we need." "Diane, that's wonderful. I have the proof with me. I'm at the Del Monte Hotel, in Penthouse A. From here I'm going to the FBI. I wanted you to go with me, but if you have to go home, I understand." "No, no. I want to help finish what Mark was trying to do." Flint and Carballo were listening to every word, riveted. In the background, they could hear the station announcement for the bus to Chicago. "I'll go with you, Diane." "You said the Del Monte Hotel?" "Yes, on 86th Street. Penthouse A. I'm on my way. See you in a little while." The connection was broken. Tanner turned to Flint and Carballo. "Half the problem is solved. Now we'll take care of the other half." Flint and Carballo watched as Tanner inserted another compact disc labeled Kelly Harris into the synthesizer. Tanner moved a switch on the phone and pressed some numbers. Diane's voice came on almost immediately. "Hello?" Tanner spoke into the phone, but it was Kelly's voice they heard. "Diane. Kelly. Are you all right?" "I'm wonderful. I have some exciting news. I found out who killed our husbands and why." "What? Who? We can't discuss this on the phone, Diane. I'm at the Del Monte Hotel, on 86th Street, Penthouse A. Can you meet me here?" "Of course. I'll come right over." "Wonderful, Diane. I'll be waiting." Tanner clicked off the set and turned to Flint. "You'll be waiting." He handed Flint a key. "This is the key to Penthouse A. It's our company suite. Get there right away and wait for them. I want you to kill them as soon as they walk in the door. I'll see to it that the bodies are taken care of." Carballo and Tanner watched Flint turn and hurry out the door. Carballo said, "What would you like me to do, Mr. Kingsley?" "Take care of Seda Hernandez. *****. Waiting inside Penthouse A, Flint was determined that this time nothing would go wrong. He had heard of bungalows that Tanner had disposed of. Not me, Flint thought. He took out his gun, checked the barrel, and screwed on the silencer. All he had to do now was wait. In a taxi 6 blocks from the Delmont Hotel, Kelly Harris's mind was racing with excitement over what Diane had told her. "I know who killed our husbands and why. I have all the proof we need. Mark, I'm going to make them pay for what they did to you." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Diane was in a fever of impatience. The nightmare was at an end. Somehow Kelly had discovered who was behind the plot to kill them, and she had proof. "I'm going to make you proud of me, Richard. I feel you near me," and Diana's thoughts were interrupted by the taxi driver. "We're here, lady. Delmont Hotel." Chapter 30. As Diane walked through the Delmont Hotel lobby, toward the elevators, her heart began to beat faster. She could not wait to hear what Kelly had learned. An elevator door opened and the passengers moved out. "Going up?" "Yes." Diane stepped inside. "The penthouse, please." Her mind was racing. What project could our husbands have been working on that was so secret that they were murdered? And how had Kelly found the answer? People began to crowd in. The elevator door closed and it started to rise. Diane had seen Kelly only a few hours ago, and to her surprise, she found that she missed her. Finally, after half a dozen stops, the elevator operator opened a door and said, "Penthouse floor. Asterisk asterisk asterisk." Flint waited close to the door, trying to listen for sounds in the hallway. The problem was that the door was unusually thick, and Flint knew why. It was not to keep sounds out. It was to keep them in. Boardroom meetings were held in the penthouse suite, but Flint liked to joke that no one was ever bored. 3 times a year, Tanner invited KIG managers from a dozen countries. When the business meetings were adjourned, a bevy of beautiful girls was brought in to entertain the men. Flint had been a guard at several of the orgies, and now, as he stood there, thinking about the sea of naked, nubile bodies moaning and thrashing about on the beds and couches, he began to get an erection. Flint grinned. The ladies would take care of it soon. Harry Flint did not consider himself a necrophiliac. He had never killed a woman in order to have sex with her. But if she were already dead? Asterisk asterisk asterisk. As Diane stepped out of the elevator, she asked, "Which way is penthouse A?" "It's to the left, at the end of the corridor." "But there's no one there." Diane turned. "What?" "That penthouse is only used for board meetings, and the next one isn't until September." Diane smiled. "I'm not going to a board meeting. I'm seeing a friend who's waiting for me." The elevator operator watched as Diane turned left and walked toward penthouse A. He shrugged, closed the elevator door, and started down. As Diane was approaching the door to the penthouse, she began to walk faster, her excitement starting to build. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Inside penthouse A, Flint was waiting for the knock on the door. Which one of them will get here first, the blonde or the black chick? It doesn't matter. I'm not prejudiced. Flint thought he heard someone approaching the door, and he tightened his grip on the gun. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Kelly was fighting to control her impatience. Getting to the Del Monte Hotel had been a series of delays, traffic, red lights, road repairs. She was late. She hurried through the lobby of the hotel and got into an elevator. Penthouse, please. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. On the 50th floor, as Diane approached penthouse A, the door to the neighboring suite opened and a bellman came out, backing into the corridor, pulling a large cart filled with luggage, blocking Diane's passage. "I'll have this out of your way in a minute," he apologized. The bellman returned to the suite and came out with 2 more suitcases. Diane tried to squeeze by, but there was no room. The bellman said, "All set. Sorry for the delay." He moved the luggage cart out of the way. Diane walked over to penthouse A and raised her hand to knock on the door when a voice down the hall said, "Diane." Diane turned. Kelly had just stepped out of an elevator. "Kelly." Diane hurried back down the hall to meet her. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Inside the penthouse, Harry Flint was listening. Was someone out there? He could have opened the door to see, but that would have ruined the plan. Kill them as soon as they walk in the door. In the corridor, Kelly and Diane were hugging, delighted to see each other. Kelly said, "Sorry I'm late, Diane, but the traffic was terrible. You caught me just as my bus was leaving for Chicago." Diane looked at Kelly, puzzled. "I caught you. I was just getting on my bus when you called." There was a momentary silence. "Kelly, I didn't call you. You called me. To tell me that you had the evidence we needed to." She saw the stricken look on Kelly's face. "I didn't." They both turned to look at penthouse A. Diane took a deep breath. "Let's." "Right." They raced down one flight of stairs, got into an elevator, and were out of the hotel in 3 minutes. Inside the penthouse, Harry Flint was looking at his watch. "What's keeping the bitches?" Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Dlane and Kelly were seated in a crowded subway car. "I don't know how they did it," Diane said. "It was your voice. And it was your voice. They're not going to stop until they kill us. They're like octopi with 1,000 bloody arms that they want to wrap around our necks. They have to catch us before they can kill us," Diane said. "How could they have found us this time? We got rid of Kingsley's business cards, and we have nothing else. That they looked at each other, then looked at their cell phones. Kelly said wonderingly, but how could they have found out our phone numbers? Don't ask. Anyway, this is probably the safest place in New York. We can stay on the subway until Diane glanced across the aisle and her face paled. We're getting out of here, she said urgently. Next stop. What? You just said. Kelly followed Diane's eyes. On the advertising strip that ran above the windows was a photograph of a smiling Kelly, holding up a beautiful lady's watch. Oh, my God. They rose and hurried to the door, waiting for the next stop. Two uniformed Marines, seated nearby, were ogling them. Kelly smiled at the men as she took Diane's cell phone and her own and handed one to each Marine. We'll call you. And the women were gone. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In penthouse A, the telephone rang. Flint snatched it up. Tanner said, "It's been over an hour. What's going on, Mr. Flint? They never showed up." What? I've been here all the time, waiting. Get back to the office. Tanner slammed the receiver down. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In the beginning, this had been a routine bit of business that Tanner had to dispose of. Now it had become personal. Tanner picked up his cell phone and dialed Diane's cell number. One of the Marines to whom Kelly had given their cell phones answered. "There you are, baby." "How would you two like to have a big treat tonight? The bitches have gotten rid of their phones." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. It was a cheap-looking boarding house on a small street on the west side. When the taxi started to pass it and Diane and Kelly saw the sign "vacancy," Diane said, "You can stop here, driver." The women got out and walked up to the front door of the house. The landlady, who opened the door, was a pleasant, middle-aged woman named Alexandra Upshaw. "I can give you a very nice room for $40 a night, with breakfast." Diane said, "That will be fine." She looked at Kelly's expression. "What's the matter?" "Nothing." Kelly closed her eyes for an instant. This boarding house had nothing to do with the boarding house she had been brought up in, cleaning toilets and cooking for strangers and listening to the sounds of her drunken stepfather beating her mother. She managed a smile. "It's okay. Asterisk asterisk asterisk." The next morning, Tanner was in a meeting with Flint and Carballo. "They've disposed of my business cards," Tanner said, "and they've gotten rid of their phones." Flint said, "So, we've lost them." Tanner said, "No, Mr. Flint, not while I'm alive. We're not going after them. They're coming to us." The two men looked at each other, then back at Tanner. "What?" Diane Stevens and Kelly Harris will be here at KIG Monday morning at 11:15. Chapter 31. Kelly and Diane awakened at the same time. Kelly sat up in bed and looked over at Diane. "Good morning. How did you sleep?" "I had some crazy dreams." "So did I." Diane hesitated. "Kelly, when you got off the elevator at the hotel, just as I started to knock at the door of the penthouse, do you think that was a coincidence?" "Of course." "And lucky for both of us that Kelly looked at Diane's face." "What do you mean?" Diane said carefully, "We've been very lucky so far." "I mean, very lucky. It's as though someone, or something, is helping us, guiding us." Kelly's eyes were fastened on her. "You mean like a guardian angel?" "Yes." Kelly said patiently, "Diane, I know that you believe in those things, but I don't. I know I don't have an angel on my shoulder." Diane said, "You just don't see it yet." Kelly rolled her eyes. "Right. Let's get some breakfast," Diane suggested. "It's safe here. I think we're out of danger." Kelly grunted. "If you think we're out of danger, you don't know anything about boarding house breakfasts. Let's get dressed and eat out." "I think I saw a diner at the corner." "All right. I have to make a call." Diane walked over to the telephone and called a number. An operator came on. "KIG. I'd like to speak to Betty Barker." "Just a moment, please." Tanner had seen the blue light and was listening in on the conference line. "Miss Barker is not at her desk. Can I take a message?" "Oh. No, thanks." Tanner frowned. "Too quick to put out a trace. Asterisk asterisk asterisk." Diane turned to Kelly. "Betty Barker is still working at KIG, so we'll just have to find a way to get to her. Maybe her home number is listed in the telephone directory." Diane said, "It could be, and the line could be tapped." She picked up the directory next to the telephone and skimmed to the letter she was looking for. "She is listed." Diane dialed a number, listened, and slowly replaced the receiver. Kelly walked over to her. "What's the matter?" It took Diane a moment to answer. "Her phone has been disconnected." Kelly took a deep breath. "I think I want a shower." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. As Kelly finished her shower and started to leave the bathroom, she realized that she had left towels on the floor. She hesitated a moment, then picked them up and put them neatly on the rack. She walked into the bedroom. "All yours." Diane nodded absently. "Thanks." The first thing Diane noticed when she walked into the bathroom was that all the used towels had been placed back on the rack. Diane smiled. She stepped into the shower and let the warm water soothe her. She remembered how she used to shower with Richard, and how good their bodies felt touching each other. Never again. But the memories would always be there. Always. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. There were the flowers. They're beautiful, darling. Thank you. What are we celebrating? Saints Within's Day. And more flowers. Washington Crossing the Delaware Day. National Parakeet Day. Celery Lovers Day. When the note with the roses said Leaping Lizards Day, Diane had laughed and said, "Sweetheart, lizards don't leap." And Richard had put his head in his hands and said, "Damn it, I was misinformed." And he loved to write love poems to her. When Diane was getting dressed, she would find one in her shoes, or in a bra, or in a jacket. And there was the time he had come home from work and she was standing inside the door, completely naked, except for a pair of high-heeled shoes. And she had said, "Darling, do you like these shoes?" And his clothes had dropped to the floor and dinner was delayed. They Kelly's voice called out, "Are we going to have breakfast or dinner?" Asterisk asterisk asterisk. They were walking to the restaurant. The day was cool and clear, and the sky was a translucent blue. "Blue skies," Diane said. "A good omen." Kelly bit her lip to keep from laughing. Somehow, Diane's superstition seemed endearing. A few doors from the diner, Diane and Kelly passed a small boutique. They looked at each other, grinned, and walked inside.